So, hi everyone. I'm excited to introduce Stacy to you. Stacy not only is a student of the TOSA method and the breathwork training, but she is my assistant. And she kind of sometimes I joke, say she manages me. I don't know what I would do without her really. And there's a couple of reasons that we're on here today. One is just this huge celebration for this three-part challenge, this 3-day challenge called the Awakened Mother. Is really about healing the mother wound that I have been passionate about for a long time. I've held workshops around this topic, and it's something that's really close and dear to my heart. And Stacy was my assistant in there for those 3 days. And it was just so powerful to support moms in really breaking the cycle of pain, not only for their own fulfillment, but for their children, for the generations to come, to heal that mother wound, even for our own relationship with our mothers. And so, yeah, just acknowledging that and celebrating that. And also announcing that on Saturday, I'll be holding a Creating Radically Conscious Relationship training. And it will run 4 Saturdays, not only to really create or to, open that space for many people who wanted to work with me, but my schedule is so full. So, creating some more opportunities for people to come in and work. But also this month, this time of year is a time of year where there's a lot of triggers that happen. There's a lot of activation within relationships. And so, yeah, Saturday is the start of that. And with that, I'm going to do a couple of interviews this week on how the TOSA method has impacted relationships in different ways with different people. And I first wanted to talk to Stacy. So, Stacy, let me ask you, how has the TOSA method impacted your relationships? Maybe your relationship with yourself, your parents, your children, your partner, whatever you would like to share about that.
Thank you, Kelly. Yeah, that's a big question because, well, first off, it's definitely changed my relationship with myself. That has been deeply profound. And changed me in such a good way. And it's been such a process, like you said, getting the privilege to work with you, but going through particularly the level 1 and learning all of these processes about myself, because I actually hold space for people in my job. But then kind of looking at how I needed to heal myself first. So not only has it been profound for me, but I feel like it has increased my capacity to hold space for others, and in this beautiful way. Yeah. So
I really hear that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say we can only lead people as far as we've gone. So we might have skills and capacities, but then when we deepen our own embodiment and our own integration, what our capacity to hold space for others definitely increases. So yeah, I really hear you.
Yeah. And it's so for me, like I said, it's been very profound, but it's also been very subtle. I even caught myself today thinking, wow, all of these things that have happened in my day. And a year ago, even, I wouldn't have been able to handle this. And now I'm giving myself the space and the resources to fill myself up and just, like I said, have this great capacity, so much more. So very grateful for that.
That's really beautiful. You're so welcome. My honor.
Thank you. And then another way it's impacted is obviously as a mother myself, I've found it's helping my whole family. So not only making my relationship with my husband richer, even being able to hold space for him in a different way, and just they're noticing I'm calmer and more centered and what I'm able to hold and the way that I'm able to do it. I was never really a yeller. But evidently I'm much calmer and just approaching things in a better way.
Beautiful.
Mm.
And I know you shared a story with me, because one of the foundational pieces of the courses coming up and of the TOSA method is the somatic inquiry process. And you shared a piece with me on, utilizing that. So not only in level 2, in the training that you're taking, are you, deepening your understanding, not so much even from a personal process, but then how to, hold space for others through it, or at least through some of the steps. And you had the opportunity to practice some of that with your son. And I'm just curious if you feel like sharing that.
Yes, absolutely. Again, I was just so blown away by how profound of an experience it was, because I do hold space for people. And I think I kind of bought into the narrative that as a mum, it was my job to, help my kids and guide my kids. And I go so far as just to own the fact that, at times trying to fix them, and really wasn't embracing that holding space for them. And yeah, so through level 2, learning to do the somatic inquiry process, a couple of weeks ago, an opportunity came up with one of my kids that I noticed something in his body language, and I thought, oh, this is a great time for me to drop in and do this with him. And he was really struggling with something that had happened that day in an event. And I caught myself wanting to fix him and the situation and give him advice. And I thought, no, I'm going to practice the somatic inquiry process, and only the first 2 steps. And this is how powerful this is that I only did the first 2, and I'm choking up thinking about it, because I just did those processes, repeated back to him, and just held him. And the change in him was quite profound. And I noticed there was this opportunity where he looked like he needed to cry. And so just giving him that validation that it's okay to feel your emotions. And then I was just able to hold him in a way that I haven't done since he was a little baby. And yeah, it's just the most beautiful, beautiful moment of deep connection, and hardly any words were shared. He got to use his voice, and I just held him. And it was so beautiful.
Yeah. And I know exactly what you're talking about from, being able to hold my children in this way. So yeah.
And probably that in itself was incredible. And then as I didn't see him the next morning, and that whole day I went off to work, and it was interesting, the narrative that started in my head, or did I do enough? And I was worried about how he's feeling, even though we had that beautiful moment. And he walked in the door that night, and I thought, oh my gosh, he looks like a different kid. He was holding himself in a different way and just so settled. And I thought, hey, how was your day? And he said that he had worked out all of the things that I would have said to him the night before if I hadn't stopped myself. And he was able to be seen and held. And then he came up with the answers for himself. So it's just couldn't believe how powerful it was, and what a gift for him and me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So beautiful.
Yeah. And a week later we had a conversation too about it, because I saw it as another opportunity to reach in and again deepen that connection. And yeah, I can't say enough how I will be continuing to utilize that process in the future. It was truly beautiful.
So lovely. And maybe even just, I'm not sure that I heard you mention this. I just heard you tell the story before, that he's not someone that shows a lot of emotion. And so, at first when you started that, and you were just holding this space and just really seeing him, really holding him, and really just allowing that moment to be what it was, how that gave him permission and access to emotions he hadn't, really touched on a lot.
Yeah. absolutely. He's definitely hold, and then blow, right? So it was really amazing to meet him when the emotion was just bubbling up, and to experience that of just feeling it and letting it flow through, and just being there to hold space for him while he did that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So rich.
Mm.
So good. And, not only am I, so passionate about supporting conscious space holders, that have really been held, through these practices and these processes so that they can really meet themselves, which, as we already talked, really, breaking the cycle for us and doing our work is really what gives us the skills and abilities, the presence that's needed to hold space in a whole new way. So not only, am I really passionate about safe space holding, but that next one is mothers, and that ability just to see and hold space for our kids, no matter the ages that they are, to break that cycle, as we talked about, to really let our kids feel seen and heard and loved, so that they can see, and hold themselves, as you had that experience. So the next day he came in, and all of that wisdom from within, and his own process from being held and being seen, that he could then see, and hold and allow to come to the surface. And it's just such a profound experience for moms to be able to hold their kids in that way. So I really acknowledge.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I didn't mention, my children aren't really children anymore. They're 17 and 20. And so I know I had a little bit of mom guilt, because my first thought was, "Oh, I could have been doing this all along with my kids," but it really is never too late. And that was a great example of that, because yeah, just meeting him in that way, it's deepening our connection right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a time where you would think in the world, how many people would say, oh, a 17 or 20-year-old boy tapping into their emotions and, being held. And yeah, there is no wrong time,
No.
and it is never too late. And it doesn't matter, yeah, where they're at. When we as mothers bring more presence, more consciousness, more ability to see and to hold, it has a profound impact on our kids. Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, I have that privilege of working with you and hearing this, going through the course and learning it as a concept. And then to drop in and actually do it and feel the results and see what it did for my son. It's just, yeah, I really encourage anybody who's even contemplating this to take the leap, because yeah, there was no greater gift.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Stacey. And yeah, we'll spend 4 Saturdays together over this month, when there's so much coming up. And Stacey will be there and be part of it and assisting. But there's so much at this time that can come to the surface for people. And so whether that's intimate relationships, or business partners, or siblings, or parents, or our children, this 4-part series is just all about creating radically conscious relationships. So if you're curious, you can DM me. You can check the link in my bio, wherever this video is. And yeah, I really look forward to supporting you.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.